Welcome to STEM and the Stacks and Beyond, your go-to podcast where two school librarians kick off our first mini-season with a countdown to the 2025 ISTE conference and dive into all things STEM and education. Each week leading up to the conference, we'll explore innovative tools, creative programs, and real-world strategies to bring science, technology, engineering, and math to life in your school community. So whether you're ISTE bound or just STEM curious, join us as we gear up, geek out, and get inspired. So let's dive right in with your hosts, me, Jennifer Sancedio-Boatman with STEMfinity, and award-winning librarian and author and future-ready librarian spokesperson, Shannon McClintock Miller. Up next, we have a super exciting resource with us today. It is new and upcoming. It's one of the newer ones that we've onboarded here at STEMfinity. And have you ever had a kid ask you, hey, how does that smartwatch work? Or hey, how does that Nest in my house work? Or all of those smart devices that we use in our homes. I think it's important for kids and students to know how that works because someone had a job that then created that for their house and their homes and all of that. So with us today, we have Tony Allen from Maker and Coder. Welcome, Tony.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
So tell us a little bit about, first of all, what is Maker and Coder? What's all the hype about? Because I know it's really hot over in other countries right now, and it's making a big splash over here in the States. So tell us a little bit about it's robotics and coding and AI all together in one product, right?
Yeah. So it is exactly what you said. I mean, you have the building aspect of the robotics and the engineering, but what we're able to bring to the classroom is also the opportunity for students to get involved with AI and IoT. So, when we talk about IoT, it's that smart device, turning on a light, with your phone, or, these smart homes that we're seeing right now. So it's getting kids introduced to that, within the classroom. They're also doing coding with it. And then they're also investigating AI and AI functionality.
Very cool.
Nice. So did you want to tell us a little about the two of your main products or explain what they do or how you've seen students using it or teachers using it in the classroom?
Yeah. So, when we look at our kits, we really focus on two areas. One is our STEAM kit. And so our STEAM kit is going to kind of be the best of everything when it comes to the engineering. So this is going to include our processor that comes, or our brain of our robot that comes with all of our kits. And this is going to have a bunch of different elements that they can actually go through and do engineering builds. So there's 6 to 7 builds they can do. This is going to be more in line with a classroom that's wanting to, focus on that engineering side, the building, actually getting the tactile, and then investigating and incorporating the coding. Our AIOT kit is going to be more, I'd say, computer science based. And this is the perfect for a CS classroom where we're going to be investigating with sensors. They're going to be more involved with the coding. We have the opportunity to do both text-based coding with Python or graphical coding. So yeah, I mean, you have it where these students can go through and they can engineer and they can build and they can code in multiple different languages and multiple different scenarios. So it really fits, a lot of different areas within a school setting. We say we start about 3rd grade and it goes all the way through university level.
That's so cool. It's a lot of grades. And I always think in my head too, when I'm listening to you, like I always like to know the background too of like the why, like where you started, like were you in education? Were you in, were you like a coder?
Yeah, I actually tell my story a lot. I was a terrible student. I mean, honestly, you know what? I got involved with education and robotics 18 years ago. And I fell into it. It was an opportunity where somebody took a chance on me. And very quickly, I went from a job to a passion. And what it was for me is I saw the student. I can tell you exactly where I was. I was in Oregon, and I saw a student just get it. And when I say they just got it, the student that was tinkering on the robot, they coded it and it moved. And at that point, it was there, and it gave me chills. It gives me chills thinking about it now. But I wasn't that student that could read a book and then go take a test and and learn everything. I was more of a hands-on, in the garage with my dad, tinkering. That was me. And so I was able to learn about engineering and coding and doing all this by getting my hands, dirty and getting hands-on. And so, that's where it resonated with me, and I've never looked back ever since. And like I said, that was 18 years ago. And I know I could never be a teacher, but I know I'll work in education the rest of my life.
Well, you're teaching through that. So that's what you need. That sounds
it's amazing. And it really is one of those things that, when you do get involved with, the hands-on learning, sometimes we see in the classroom that the kids that really excel at this aren't those kids that are, hitting the books and really, these are the kids that, are maybe like me and we're more that hands-on students. So, it really brings a new dynamic to the classroom. And what we bring with Maker and Coder is something that they can start, in third grade and go all the way through university level. And the way they're able to do that with the same kid is it's expandable. They can actually build on top of what they're doing. So if they do want to incorporate, sensors or encoders or motors, they can actually add those components onto their brain, their processor, and then grow it from there.
Cool. So when they're doing this and building, are they like solving a problem? Can they make up their own? Like, I want to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, great question. And yeah, it's a little bit of everything. I think, when you think about engineering, the concept is you have a problem, you develop a solution. One of the things that I really like teachers to get understand and get involved with this is, there is a lot of open-ended challenges that you can do. So, it can be as simple as, the students build a mobile vehicle. We're gonna say, okay, guys, we want to go from point A to point B. How do we get there? Okay, now let's put an obstacle in between there. Or, we can actually have an incline, and say, okay, how are we going to code this to go faster? Or how do we go slower? So there's lots of different challenges. Those are more the open-ended challenges, but we also do have full curriculum that's available. So the teachers can go through and get that step-by-step and walk through it and understand, what do they need today? What are the challenges that the students are going to face, and what's the learning outcome? So we do have all of that available, as well as a competition. So, with Maker and Coder, you can have it in the classroom, you can utilize it in a summer camp, but then you can also take it to, we have a Maker and Coder challenge, which is a global robotics competition that, they could also do there as well.
Oh, that's cool. Kids love challenges, competitions.
Yep. And it's amazing. That's when you actually, you see these students. At the end of the day, these are the kids that are going to cure cancer someday. They're developing our future technology, so getting them out there and engaged and just learning and challenging each other. What else could you ask for?
That's really great.
Yeah, we are, I know I've said this many times, but we are the kids we are teaching today, we are teaching them for jobs that we don't even know exist yet, cures that don't exist yet, inventions that aren't available yet. And so having this kind of technology accessible to kids at a young age, it really gives them hope that that they're able to, it's like you said, for the kid who thinks that they don't really have a future, you know what I mean, in anything other than a basic job, basic not an actual career that's high level like that. It gives kids hope that they can do something fancy, like that, and solve the world's problems. And also, I don't know about how other states and their push for what we call them here in Texas, the tech apps, starting this next school year. We've always had tech apps, but the state is really going to be looking for those to be actually taking place in the schools a little bit more hardcore than they have been in the past. And so I am excited to see a product that can meet those needs. I know that people are looking for products to meet those needs now, probably more so than they were before. So tell us, because your product is something newer. It's not one of the ones that's as well known as some of the other robotics and coding. So tell us what makes yours different.
Yeah, so I think really what makes ours different is, one, it's the simplicity in the classroom, not only for the student to get started with, but also for the teacher. We know that anytime you say robotics and coding, it can be overwhelming. And so we tried to really simplify that process. And, from, even the kit of part, how it comes packaged. We looked at that and made sure there was a piece for every component for the most part. So, that classroom management, is addressed. Once they connect it actually to the Wi-Fi in the school, it automatically connects every time. So we're trying to take away that difficulty. But when you talk about what makes us unique, it's, there's tons of engineering, kits out there. There's tons of coding stuff out there. What allows us to be different is we take all of that, but then we also include the IoT and the AI. But with that, we're also able to transition a student from a graphical coding, so like a scratch code, where they're going to have a motor move block, over to Python. And so for those, like say you're a visual learner, I can put up a motor move block. I know what that looks like, but I don't know what that looks like in coding. Well, I can click right there and switch right over to Python and see what that code actually looks like in Python. I can actually manipulate that code as well. So you can go from graphical to text-based coding back and forth and actually see what that looks like, which is something that, is great for the classroom. It's a tool for the students as well as the teacher. But then, at the same time, we tried to bring all this together and keep it affordable and, for the classroom. So, it's something that you can bring this into a classroom, starting for like $300. And they're going to be able to do, that's the hardware, that's the coding, there's curriculum available, everything like that. So, for $300, they can get this, they can be coding, they can be incorporating AI, IoT, turning lights on and off with, around their house with this controller, utilizing their phone to actually control. We've done a project where I've actually had my controller right here being controlled from Dubai. So they could actually do the code, they could actually control it from here. So you could have students, I could be here in my house and I could have them controlling, this from, or a light bulb from somewhere else, in a school in Texas.
Cool.
So yeah, there's a lot of unique and fun things. Me coming from an engineering background and doing in robotics, I honestly spend 90% of my time now just with this right here, and that's just the controller and the battery. Because I can do so much with this. I've added, obviously, I've got a strap on there because we can do a wearable codable, so you can wear it like a watch. But yeah, you can do so much just with this, and you don't even have to have the engineering and building platform. That's just, I look at it as an added benefit.
So you said two key things I know the teachers and districts are looking for: affordable,
yep,
big one, and teacher facilitated. Like it's easy, the onboarding, because what we know about technology is if it's hard and the teachers, it's too hard to figure out, it's going to sit on the shelf and the kids never going to get to interact with it. So again, as I've said many times on this podcast, is I love a product that doesn't require the teachers to be an expert in it. They don't have to be the robotics coach. They don't have to have any kind of really knowledge of coding. They can learn right along with the students. They just need to know enough to get them started. And just like with STEMfinity, most of our partners that come on, they're also here to support you. We don't stop at the transaction. We are also here to make sure that once you receive the product, that you know how to use it, because our big key is implementation. We want you using the things that you're investing your dollars on, because we know that the funding can be scary right now. And
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree with more of what you're saying right now. Is we want to make sure that the teacher is successful, and we know if the teacher is successful, then the students will be successful. So we do stand by that, and we know that. That's why we work with STEMfinity as well. As we know the customer service and how you guys do take care of the classroom and the educator. So we follow behind that 100% as well.
I just want to know if I'm able to. I want to learn about this at ISTE, so I want to play. I'm going to come play.
We are going to have some fun stuff at ISTE. So we're going to be we're at booth 2448. If you're at ISTE, 2448. If you walk by us, you're definitely gonna notice us. So we're gonna have a complete smart home setup where you'll be able to control water pump and ceiling fans, and like a smart house. We're going to have an interactive tic-tac-toe. So we'll actually have 9 of these, 3, 3, and 3, where you'll be able to say you put an X on it. So these are all touch screen. So I can just put an X right here. Well, then the AI is automatically going to do the O somewhere else. So you can actually, we're going to be able to compete versus AI in tic-tac-toe. We're going to have a complete setup for our Maker and Coder Challenge, so you can see what the competition is going to look like with the robots and the field setup. What else are we going to have? This is a pulse ox. So same little box I had. This is all 3D printed, and that's just a little Grove pulse ox sensor. So, you know, this is something you could do in your classroom. We'll have this up and going, but literally just took a 3D printer, printed this housing, and then put a sensor in there. And so now when this is on, you can actually read my heartbeat and the pulse oximeter. So, you know, we'll have all kinds of different projects, you know, so we encourage people to come by, get hands-on, check it out. And I mean, and hopefully we're able to, you know, answer some questions you might have, or, you know, maybe fill a gap that that your school's looking to fill.
Yeah, that's what I'm sitting here thinking, is that could be used for so many things. And the teachers, you know, that confidence that we give our teachers when we use tools like this and the support. As a librarian and innovation director at my school, like that's what I'm always looking for, because that's when we get that buy-in, not only from the kids, but the teachers get so excited and feel successful too.
You want to know one of the things that really jumped out at me about our product, and I think this is a great caveat to point out, is we don't have to go in there and, you know, when you look at a product like this, it doesn't have to go in there and replace, you know, if a school's already doing one, you know, robotic system or another, this could actually be a lead-in or assist with that. Say you're already doing a competition, you know, you could bring this in to teach your students about the coding and get them introduced to, like, a JV. So imagine you're doing a robotics competition in high school. This could be your JV to get them introduced to the coding and actually do sub builds, you know. So it doesn't have to go into a school and completely replace what you're doing. It can be an add-on or an addition to what's already there and established.
And I love a product that works with some of our other tools. So you said that you were able to 3D print things
Yep.
to go with this product. I love when resources like that overlap and they can be used together.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the engineering side of it. We want students to go out and, you know, think outside of the box and create something that's unique. And so, yeah, anytime that we can take, you know, and do something like that, very simple. I mean, you know, and, you know, we're gonna continue to bring out ideas, you know, and hopefully, you know, I can tell you stories about products that we've actually launched in the past, you know, based upon, you know, a student's feedback or a school's feedback. So, you know, we love to see new and out of box, or, you know, out of the box ideas.
Nice. Well, I personally cannot wait to come and play, because I've only gotten to play with the one little demo robot that I have, one little kit that I have. But it sounds like I'm going to be able to come by your booth and be fully immersed in it and get to really experience why this kind of technology is important in schools, because it's teaching kids the why behind the world around them and how things around them work. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, no, and we look forward to seeing everybody there, and swing by. We might have I know it's going to be like 100 degrees, but we might have a hoodie or something we can throw your way.
Hey, you know what?
I'm hearing a lot about that.
And let me tell you, she is wearing her hoodie right now. Both of them, we're wearing their hoodie, and it's hot here in Texas.
It's going to be cold in the convention center, so.
Yeah, well, we'll swing by. We've got one set aside for you guys.
Okay, so say that booth number again.
It's going to be 2448.
2448. So please, yes.
We've got a big island. You know, you'll see us. I'll be the tall guy sitting there, you know, playing with the watch and stuff. So,
not to be confused with our own tall guy. We have our own tall guy here at STEMfinity.
There's not many people I have to look up to, you know, and very, very rarely do I have to, you know, physically look up, and Bill is definitely one of those. So, you know, he's, you know, when him and I are standing next to each other, he towers over me. So it's, yep.
Nice. Well, I am so excited. I leave tomorrow and head down southbound 35. I think both of you are headed down and out tomorrow. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited to share all of the resources that we have here at STEMfinity, and I'm super excited to get to go around to all the different vendors that we've talked to and play with some of the new things they have coming out. Is there anything else that we forgot to mention before we head to San Antonio?
No, have fun, everybody. And yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things, is try out the new things. Like, spend time on the vendor floor. That's always my advice to people, is that learn from the experts and the creators, because that's where I always come away so inspired and with so many ideas. So can't wait.
I can't wait either. Well, Tony, thank you so much for joining us. Shannon, can't wait to hug you and see you. I'm so excited.
Girl.
And we're going to have a great time.
Yep.
Safe travels. And
Safe
we'll see you in
journey.
San Antonio.
Okay. Thanks,
All right,
Tony.
guys. Have a great day. See you in a few days.
Okay. See ya.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of STEM and the Stacks and Beyond as we count down to ISTE and explore the power of STEM in education. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow educators. Have questions or have ideas? We would love to hear a hoot from you. Until next time, keep innovating, keep inspiring, and keep STEMulating your mind.